a load of bollocks. You've got to die to get 3 points.
Stuffer Schindler has a chance to write his name in Huddersfield Town legend. And he takes that chance!
Hello, listener. Brady here. So how this pod's going to work is, at first you'll hear Tom and I reacting to Neil Warnock's press conference live. We recorded it as it was happening. We were meant to be following the live stream, but as I'm sure you saw, the live stream didn't happen. So thank you, Steve, for typing up, as you always do, the press conference. So you'll hear Tom and I reacting to that, and then you'll hear the rest of the Birmingham preview, which we recorded before Neil Warnock's first press conference. So hopefully that makes sense. But yeah, enjoy. Tom, we are reacting to Neil Warnock's first press conference as a little bonus in the pod, eh?
Yeah.
I don't know. Should we talk about the start? I mean, for me, I'm just going to get my bit in here. I feel, right, as someone who struggles with audio issues when editing this pod, I have full sympathy with the media team and live stuff not going well, obviously when we've done Twitter Spaces. But is there anything that sums up our season more than a tweet out of the blue that says, we are having a press conference with Neil Warnock at 5 p.m. We will stream it live. It's 15 minutes late, and then when it does start, it's so delayed and pixelated, and there's no sound, the stream has to go down and they have to go to text.
Terrible, Brady, honestly. It's just like, don't promise something if you can't achieve it. I'm sorry. Even in that 15 minutes, why weren't they checking if it worked or not? Anyway, so we had to go to Examiner, didn't we, to get us live updates.
We had to go to Steve typing away.
Yeah. So do you want to start anything? I mean, it's still going on as we speak right now, isn't it? I've read so far, I'm loving it, to be fair.
Yeah, there's a few jokes in there. I enjoyed I have to say though, it's asking a lot for us to get in the playoffs. I thought that was great.
Yeah.
Do you know what? I feel like Neil Warnock is probably the best manager for first press conferences, for everyone to go, oh, I thought he spoke really well.
Yeah, definitely. It's very interesting, like his thoughts ahead of Saturday, almost saying like he thinks it's a bit of a free hit, which I mean, I guess it is really. Like, I quite like that he feels like it's not. I mean, I think in the back of his mind he will think it's very important, but he's almost playing it down in a bit. And it also gives me a bit of confidence that he thinks it's not be all and end all if, say, we did lose again on Saturday.
Yeah, I think that's good because, I know we've just talked on the preview about how we think it is a must-win, but I suppose putting that pressure on the players is probably not helpful. A couple of things that stood out for me was him saying, because obviously Matt's just posted that article about his time at Rotherham, which was a similar situation. And Warnock said, we had good leaders at Rotherham, but there's not so many leaders here. It'll be me and Hoggy that have to lead, really. I'm quite surprised by that because, previously, like last season, we talked about leaders and Schofield talked about leaders and Fotheringham talked about leaders, and it was like Hoggy, Nichols, Lee. I know Nichols is injured, but Lees was one of them. So that surprised me. I don't know if you can, again, it's just a throwaway quote at a press conference, but that caught my eye. I don't know. What do you think about that, Tom?
I think we kind of touched on it actually earlier on in the pod, didn't we? Saying especially from some of the lads during that Stoke game, yeah, we are short of leaders, and I think injuries have played a part in that as well, haven't they?
Absolutely. Other thing that stood out for me was he said he should have come to Dean when he went to Leeds, but he thought he could conquer Ken Bates, which is interesting. That's a nice. We don't do what ifs and hypothetical situations as much as we used to, but I'd love to explore the alternative timeline if Warnock did come back.
Well, he even mentioned, didn't he, if Ronnie Jepson always says to him that he should have stayed, and they'd have got to the Premier League with him that time. So, yeah, that's I think there's a lot of that so far, isn't there?
Yeah, and he said the reason he stayed, but is the chairman lied to him and he fell out with him. So, interesting. I love this. Shout out for Mel Booth. He said one of the best journalists I've ever come across is Mel Booth. I could tell him anything and he'd never let me down. I love that. Love that. And he wasn't there last night because he's at a jazz club in New York. I feel like I'm already enjoying this press conference more than.
That's mad that he's actually even doing a press conference today, though. I'd be shattered. Advising on the next manager, that's an interesting one, Brady. So saying that's for the club to sort out. We need to put bums on seats first and foremost. It's been quite depressing of late, and there's enough depression about in the world. I need to come up with a solution. I've got an idea, but I'm not 100% yet. I need to see one or two of the lads before I do decide my team. So kind of a bit, not really giving anything away there, whether even he might be up for keeping on. You never know, do you? But do you know what I mean? It's quite interesting that he's been asked that during the press conference.
Yeah, and he talked on Tom Lees. I know you touched on him and your frustration with him in the Stoke game yesterday, but he said, I've had some fun with Tom today. And what I've seen of him is that he looked pretty reliable, but we just need him finding that balance between that and doing the nasty business and not letting players get loose at free kicks and stuff like that. So he's clearly talking about the Jagielka thing.
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, like obviously you know what you're going to get a bit with Warnock, but there is a couple of interesting things. And he said, he's had a lot of younger elements a part of the squad makeup, but they've got his energy and enthusiasm, and we need to find a system and maybe involve one or two lads who maybe haven't been involved as much and come up with solutions where we're causing other teams problems. I feel sorry for the strikers, whoever's played. I don't know. Like, I suppose, Tom, what would you kind of sum up? I know it's kind of winding down as we record. It will probably have finished and be out for you to listen to on the club's channels by the time this pod comes out. But what's your kind of takeaway from this?
My takeaway is sort out your live streams, Town. And also, he's up for it and he's excited. And just... I know we haven't heard it, but reading it, you can read between the lines a lot, and the experience is just coming across. Some of the stuff he's saying, it's just really nice to hear. It's making me feel a bit more relaxed already, and trust that he's potentially going to get the job done. And yeah, I'm buzzing. I am actually really excited, Brady.
Me too. I'm going on Saturday, and I think I knew it was going to be a good atmosphere, but I just think like Neil says, we've got to put bums on backs on seats and smiles backs on faces. That's my job. That's what I want the lads to do, and that's it. Like you said, we're kind of laughing at some of the stuff he said. Like, I'm excited for Saturday. The thing is, I was talking to Pozza about this, and I just think, just regardless, we can't have performances like Wigan and Stoke. Like, it's just, whatever happens between now and the end of the season, at least we're going to have some fun. And I know that's not everything, but Jesus, like, we need a bit of fun this season. It's just been miserable.
Yeah. Well, we will definitely have that with Neil, won't we?
Oh, of course we will, Tom.
Addicted to management, Neil.
Okay. And I think we'll do it there. So what we'll do now as a special pod thing is you'll go back to the past version of ourselves talking about the Birmingham preview. Hello, it's the warm-up episode 101. It's Brady and Tom, and we're previewing the Birmingham game. Tom, how you doing, mate?
I'm brilliant, Brady. How are you?
I'm good. We won't be showing that because we won't show the full video, but I was doing a face to put Tom off there. Kind of worked.
Did you sense the sarcasm in my voice? Yeah, I'm not too bad though, Brady, to be fair. It's Town, innit? That's life. That's Huddersfield Town. That should be a t-shirt.
Yeah. Well, you've made t-shirts before. Get on that, mate.
Yeah.
Before anyone else nicks it.
Yeah.
I believe an old wise Scottish manager used to say, Don't get too high when you win, and don't get too low when you lose.
Yeah, exactly.
There we go. But yeah, Tom, let's talk briefly about Stoke because that was last night. Just it's just disappointing, isn't it?
I saw a lot of people saying how there's no fight in this team, and I think there is. It is there, but last night I don't know what was going on. The actual last few performances, like I think there's a fight that can be brought out in these players, but it has definitely not been shown in the last few performances. Some of the defending was embarrassing last night for the corner. Tom Lee's supposed to be one of your more experienced players, defenders. And I mean, he's coming up against the ultimate experienced defender, but come on, mate, he's 40 and he's out jumping you. The marking was terrible. I don't know why Lees is standing off him so much. I know it's such a deep ball. If you know that, like Jagielka, you should be looking at Jagielka and thinking, right, what's his position here? Jagielka at his age isn't going to be sprinting into this box onto the penalty spot from where he stood. Do you know what I mean, Brady? Like Lee should be figuring this kind of stuff out and stand mainly for my defensive expertise. he should be standing on that player. He should be standing on a 40-year-old centre back and just basically making sure he can't out jump him. And then the problem with that is that he doesn't do that, and Jagielka gets a run on him. And fair play, it's a good header because Wagon, it's at that height where Wagon literally cannot do anything about it on the line. But yeah, for me, Lees has got to be doing 100% better there. It's embarrassing. It is embarrassing defending from a set piece corner. Then Boyle, what are you doing, mate? Like, why are you swinging your arm out like that? Dwight Gale is notorious for winding people up and stuff. Fair play, but the problem with that there is Dwight Gale's running at Boyle. If Boyle just stands there, wins that header, he's going to win that header anyway against Dwight Gale. Do you know what I mean? Boyle stands there, lets Gale foul him. Different story. Instead, he does exactly what Gale wants him to do. He has a look at him, sticks his big arm out and smacks him in the face. Stupid, absolutely stupid. And that ruins any chance of Town getting something from that. I actually think at the end of that first half, Town kind of showed something. Lee's hitting the bar. They kind of weathered a lot of Stoke possession. And you kind of thought, all right, if we've got away with it maybe a little bit, had a chance at the end of that half, let's see if we can do something. And Boyle just, ruins it for me. Not saying we'd have gone on to win the game, but you never know with 11 men on that pitch at 1-0. And if you kept it at 1-0 with about 10 minutes to go, you never know. Stoke might have dropped off. They really needed a win. Just game management, and Boyle showed his inexperience of it there at this level. I'm just really disappointed with the defence last night. And it all sums it up with how lazy that challenge was from Lees in the last, whatever it was, last form. What was it? Probably 4 minutes of added time. It was right at the end of the game, and things like this. It's fine margins like this. If you never know, it might come to us staying up on goal difference and conceding a goal like that, a penalty in the last few minutes. The guy's not going anywhere. Lees can stand him up and probably send him towards the corner flag. They're not chasing do you know what I mean? They're not chasing an equaliser or a winner. So like, you stand him up there, you send him out wide. He doesn't care, and instead you're diving in late on like that. Really disappointing to see from a defensive point of view for Town, and then there wasn't much to say about the attack. I've gone in on them there, Brady, for once. Tell you that.
You have. I think no, but you're right too. You know, we have talked all season as it creeps up further and further that this run-in was going to be huge. It was going to define the season. And for me, I'm not going to put the boot in on individual players, but Blackpool should have won that game, threw it away. Wigan, terrible performance, absolutely terrible. deserve to lose. Just shocking. And then Stoke, like they bring in Warnock, and I don't know why. You want to believe. I think it's the hope that kills you. But I know Warnock's only taking charge the day after. But you think, right, Warnock's coming in. It's a fresh start. Players are going to want to impress him. And I'm sure. I mean, I don't know, but I would have thought Chico's probably had a chat with Warnock and he's given some advice. And they put out that performance. And the thing is, that's 1 point from 9. And it's not like, I know you can say that about every game, but they were 3 winnable games. Not only that, there were huge 6-pointers, some of them, to get some distance. And now we're cut adrift further. It's just so disappointing. And, I know there's a lot of stuff going on behind the scenes. The owner wants to sell. He's not putting any more funds in. They've got rid of 2 coaches already who've not been up to it, and not got the results they want. But for me, the players also need to take some responsibility in this. There's got to be, some professional pride. And I'm not saying they're not putting a shift in or they're not working hard enough, but someone needs to snap them out of this funk, because we are playing like a relegation team. We're playing like a relegation team, low on confidence. And the thing is, for me, I don't understand how this team can go from third to looking like this. I know we've lost Harry Toffler. I know we've lost Lewis O'Brien, Pippa, Denelson Arnie. We've not invested in some areas. We'll come on to some other reasons as well, but they need to sort it, and quickly, because, you kind of talk yourself into, well, maybe League One would be good. You could have a reset, look at Ipswich, look at Sheffield Wednesday. But the thing is, there's no guarantee with that. And I don't want to risk fate. Town need to be in the Championship, and they're just not performing like a Championship team. And Warnock, bloody hell, this is such a hell of a job on his hands. And I'm worried. I'm we're quite positive normally, but I'm worried he's not going to have enough time to turn it around. And these are the games we should be winning. I know we've got Birmingham on Saturday, and that's the game we're previewing, but he's going to have 2 days for what is a huge game. And I just don't know if that's going to be enough time to see an uplift. And I hate to say that. I don't want us to get relegated. I don't want to feel down and us out of it. And I'm sure the atmosphere on Saturday will be great because Warnock's in here. But it's so frustrating. It just, to be honest, I've said it for a couple of weeks, but we don't deserve to stay up. If we do, we've absolutely stolen it. And that's such a sad thing to say, because these players, I'm sure they don't want that. And I'm sure they do care. They will care. Hoggy's been here for years, he'll care. These players, they do care. It's just a sad state of affairs, Tom.
Massive. I think what you said there, Brady, stood out a lot about Warnock will have been watching last night. Do you know what I mean? And there's performances on that pitch that just make me think, why are you here? If you're not even trying to show that you want to be here to fight, what's the point? He can't. I don't see how he's looking at that and thinking, oh yeah, Tom Lees is a leader of a centre back for me. No way. So things like that. Yeah, you're right. If we go down, we completely deserve it. But if he did make a miracle, it would be up there as his biggest achievement in his career, I think, because he's probably watching that last night thinking, bloody hell, what have I done?
Yeah. Got his holiday short to come back and take him to training today. So, yeah, I mean, I'm not being funny. He should probably get a statue if he keeps us up, and obviously for his previous stint. But Tom, come on, we've had a moan. Let's get into this preview then. So we're hosting Birmingham. The Blues are sitting 18th in the table. They're 10 points ahead of the Terriers, who sit in 23rd place on 28 points. Birmingham have won 4 of their last 10 away games, but overall, they've only won 2 matches in the last 10, home and away. Tom, this is a must-win, isn't it? And do you think Town, despite all the things we've said about Stoke and Wigan and the Blackpool matches, it is Warnock's first game. It is a home game, which I think is so crucial. Do you think they can get a win in?
I do, yeah. Brady, I think going to almost every game in this league, bar Burnley and Sheffield United, and I would put Norwich in that bracket as well, because I do think just their forward line is insane. I think I go into most games thinking, oh, you never know here. It's the Championship. We can get a result. And this is one that you're a bit more favourable towards that win, I think. They're on their bad run now. They had a really good start to the season. And think back to they were all thinking about getting playoffs and everything. So they've had quite a drastic fall in fortune. So I think Town have got to be looking at this thinking, right, we're at home. It's his first game. There should be a proper buzz in the stands, and hopefully the players should be buzzing as well. But they're still a good side. I think mainly they've got players who score goals. They've got handfuls up front. They've got players who get stuck in up front. And when you look at what happened against Stoke, you think, have we got the defenders to match that and challenge? I mean, blooming heck, one of them can't play now on Saturday. So there's another question, who's going to come in? So I don't know. I look at like Scott Hogan as 10 goals this season. He is lively, isn't he? And then you've got big lads like Deeney and Jutkovic up there with him. So it's going to be difficult. But one thing I do like about Warnock is he knows how to beat young managers.
You make it sound like it's a physical thing and he's scrapping them.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the positive is, not the positive for Town because it's a relegation rival, but they did lose 2-0 to Cardiff in the last match. The thing is, though, Tom, the circumstances are set beautifully for Juninho Bacuna to be a right shithouse and score against us, aren't they?
Yeah. They are, but he's doing his classic Bacuna, hasn't he? He had a really good start to the season. Birmingham fans were all saying, "Oh, why have Huddersfield let him go? Their fans don't know anything." And now he's playing like he was for the last part of his time at Town. Look, we know what he can do, but I trust in players like Hoggy to let him know he's there early on and basically get him out of the game and stop him from doing anything. Because I think that's the kind of player he is as well. So it'd be interesting to see. I mean, he's played a lot of games for him this season, so he's still getting picked. But
yeah,
there's only one goal. Only one goal. 4 assists, not terrible, but I just think right, Brady. Like you said, we said this run is the big one, and what have we got? 2 more games of that run that we fought. I think we included Bristol City in it as well. I think we've got to win. We have to win this one, and Bristol City,
and Cov,
yeah.
Imagine if Warnock beat Burnley. That'd be funny. Right, okay. We've talked about things off the pitch, but and how it's not good enough. But Tom, do you hear that? It sounds like a reason to have an excuse.
Never moaned about the situation at all. We've got an absolutely horrific, we'll have to be honest, we have a horrific injury list at the moment.
And on another day we were more clinical with our chances.
Our lovely owner wants to, of course, sell the club, and there's not a lot of funds here at the moment.
Because we're going to talk about some of the injuries. Because I think the thing is as well, like they talk about luck and like when you're doing well, luck goes your way, and when you're not doing well, luck doesn't go your way. I just wanted to read out how many players we got out for the season, because it kind of was like, oh, yeah, any team would struggle. So Nichols, obviously, is out for the season. Ollie Turton's out for the season. Tino Andren's out for the season. Kieran Phillips is out for the season. Would he start? Yuta Nakayama's out for the season. Dwayne Holmes, I don't think he is out for the season, but he's out for a couple of weeks. Ben Jackson, no idea. Danny Ward, no idea. Mikel Hellick, I don't think it's that serious, maybe a couple of weeks. Jordan Rhodes missed the game yesterday for illness, but that's not thought to be serious. Obviously, we'll know from the press conference. But just reading some of the names, like they're starters, aren't they? They're guaranteed
big names,
starters.
Big names. And I know it's an excuse, but I think it's quite a valid excuse, to be fair. Blimey, Brady, some of those names you're reading out. I think people underestimate how much Dwayne Holmes brings to stuff. I think we've missed him recently. Utah looked brilliant at the start of the season when you think what we've been struggling with now. That was a massive blow, I think. And then most importantly, Nichols, like bloody hell, what a difference he makes when he's in that team. And absolutely gutted that we're not going to see him for the rest of the season. And potentially, if we go down, probably never again in a Town shirt. I would say. So if there's one incentive to stay up, it's to keep him.
That's the only reason I want Warnock to go in the dressing room and say that.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, here's a question for you, Tom. Before we move on, Warnock's coming in. Which players do you think he'll get a tune out of? I know you can do the classic. There's always a player under a new manager that you never expect. But looking at the team that we do have, is there anyone that immediately springs to mind that you think, oh, Warnock will get something out of them?
Kasumu. Paroma.
Do you think?
Yeah. I think Hogg will really up his game. I think we'll see. I think like who Hogg's played under, right? So I think best Hogg's Wagner, because he believed in him so much. I think every manager always knows that it's Hogg is the captain, etc. But I don't think he's ever had a manager at Town like Warnock. So I think we'll see a different Hogg and a Hogg that hopefully will drag us over the line this season. I think Matty Pearson could become a best defender. Hopefully Hellick's not out too long. I'm hoping he ups everyone, Brady, honestly. I also think, controversially, we're the Scott High fan club, but I think he could turn Scott High into a bit more of a championship quality player.
Yeah.
Do you know, I'm looking at the list as well. Can I just say who we would have got a massive tune out of? Yeah. I just, what a stupid decision that was. Maybe he didn't want to be part, but imagine if you'd have just kept him about. He'd have wanted to be here with Warnock. Bloody hell.
Yeah. I think, knowing Warnock, he's always had people who can finish. And I think you could see a response from Jordan Rhodes as well. And to be honest, like, if we are going to go down, at least I'd like to see Rhodes get his 100th goal for Town. Give me something.
Yeah.
No, it's a good point. I don't know. Yeah, I think he could have an uplift in all of them. Like you say, there is always a player that you think, I don't know, like it's unexpected. I know Neil, who was on the pod many moons ago, always said, like, when Corberan came in, like, Leeds fans had written off Click and, look how well he did. So here's my random shout. This is just based on vibes and nothing else. I reckon, I know he's only a lone player, but he's been pretty miserable. I think we might see a better Matt Loughton as well.
Yeah, that'd be good.
I mean, we need right backs, so it best be.
Yeah.
But yeah, there to be fair, if there's a plan, there's a bit to work with there. I think Hungbo's looked like, looked exciting. I think Knockout's giving his all when he can. So yeah, I don't know. Let's try and be more positive. But Tom, you did get the down low on Birmingham, didn't you? You caught up with Emily Drakeley from her game 2, who's a Birmingham City fan. Talk to me.
Yes, I did, Brady. That's exactly what I did. In person in Birmingham, the city of, what is it? What even is Birmingham? The city of Bulls. They like bulls.
It's the
don't
bull.
they?
They've got the bull ring, haven't they?
Yeah, yeah. The second city.
We've lost to a pub side. We've literally lost to a pub side.
Hi mate, thanks for joining us on the podcast. So, how's your season going?
So how's your season going? It started off quite well. I was quite impressed with how we were. We were really good actually up until the Sunderland game just before the World Cup. We seemed to be on a really good run. The attitude around the club was great. Everything was going really well. We had supposed new owners coming in. Then the supposed new owners it didn't come off, and ever since then the mood and our performance on the pitch haven't been up to the same standard as they were in the first half of the season. So that's been a bit disappointing. And as per, there's some things going on behind the scenes that are a bit unsavoury. So we're hoping for the best in new ownership, but to be honest, expecting the worst in that they're not going to go anytime soon. So seasons, it's the same as ever, really. I think we'll probably end up finishing lower mid table, which really is quite a good thing after the last couple of years of yo-yoing around relegation. So yeah, I started off the season really positive. Now it's just a typical season, to be honest. Bit apathetic towards it now.
Who's a standout player for you so far?
I think right now, obviously, our standout player has to be Hannibal. I love him. He's one of those players where he's really got that spark about him, the passion. He's so passionate. The only thing is that his passion sometimes can go a bit too far, and he's at risk of getting himself sent off. So it's not always a good thing, but he is 20, I think. You know, he'll rein that in hopefully and learn in time. But yeah, without him, we haven't got a lot of creative spark at the moment.
And what's your score prediction against Town?
School predictions. Oh, so we had a really good game against West Brom, and then we just absolutely capitulated against Cardiff. So to be honest, I can see this being a draw. I'm not expecting too much, obviously. Expecting the worst, hoping for the best, as per. Just trying to have a positive attitude. But no, I think, to be honest, it might end up being a 0-0 or a 1-1. I can't see it being anything more than that.
Thank you. Bye.
Yeah, there you go. Brilliant insight there. Thank you, Emily, for that.
Yeah. It's time for the mailbag.
You've got mail.
Barney S17. A17, maybe it's wrong. Barney says, which of the few senior players we'd actually still want do you think would stay in League One? I think, well, let's just guess randomly. I think Matty Pearson probably would.
Yeah.
I think Scott High would. So,
Yeah.
one for High. Let's get on it.
Tom Lees would. Ollie
Yeah.
Turton would. Josh
Yeah.
Ruffles would.
Yeah.
This is if they'd stay, we'd want them.
Well,
to
if
stay,
we'd actually still want them as well, Barney says. But at the moment, I don't think beggars can be choosers.
No, exactly. I mean, Edmonds Green, probably. Tom Lees, probably. Maybe not. I don't know. I don't know. I'd be surprised if you was around in League One. Same with Hellick.
Same with Nichols.
Same with Nichols.
Sober will be off. I mean, he's already on loan.
Hoggy would stay, I think. I don't really see what else he'd do. Karoma would be an interesting one. Say he has a good end of the season, but we go down. Would we actually offer him a contract? I mean, I'm going through the list here. Connor Mahoney. I'm sorry, Connor, but what a crazy... Some signings this year are just so random. Horny for High, yeah. Kasumu, yes. I'd love us if we could keep hold of him in League One. I think he'd be brilliant. Holmes, I don't know. What do you think there?
I think Holmes he feels like definitely like not a fans player. I like Dwayne Holmes. I think he gets a lot, I think people pick on him a bit too much compared to other players, but I get the feeling he's like one of those players that like managers rate, and he's like actually quite good if you think about it.
I think
so
a
I reckon
championship team would pick him up if we
I
went
think
down.
so too. I think Rhodes would probably go, unfortunately.
Yeah.
I think
Rudoni,
Wardy.
he'd stay, wouldn't he, probably?
Yeah,
Rolando,
depends if anyone came in.
Rolando Aarons.
I think he's out of contract, so I mean, of
better
all the
offer him
crazy
one then.
things, yeah.
Right, Rhodes and Ward, right? What do you think there?
I think Rhodes would go. I think Wardy would probably go. It just depends on that injury. I mean, he got 15 goals last season. I know people say that's like, one-off season, but strikers are really hard to come by.
Yeah.
I think any promoted team would probably take a chance on him.
Good point. And that's about it, really, isn't it?
That's
Canberra isn't on a. He's only here for half a season, isn't he? That surely was the contract we offered him.
Yeah, I think it was. Yeah, don't
Right.
worry. We're going a big Jaheim Headley, I think, would stay,
Yeah.
and I have to say, from last night, I don't think he was too bad. I don't think he came out with a lot of. I mean, the bar was very low. I think Pat Jones probably would stay.
Yeah. I think all your youth lads would be staying. All you that are still classed as B team, Brady.
Yeah,
Like
Billy
Jones
Capich be good.
yeah.
Probably be our number one and worth risking. Yeah. Okay. Cool. So there you go, Barney. That's a long, rambly way of saying, hopefully.
Yeah.
Mark Harrison, he asks, would Neil be up for a half-time fight with his nemesis Stan Turner? If Warnock wins, we automatically stay up. Losing, it's oblivion. At least it takes the players out of the equation in our relegation fight. Mark, absolutely on board with this. Because even if Warnock loses, I think it just puts us out of our misery, doesn't it? So I'd love to see that. That, to be honest, sounds like something that could happen in the Amazing Elbow. So
Turnant's scary though. Turnant is a bit of a. Do you know what I mean? Warnock's a fighter, but he's not Turnant. I would not want to fight Stan Turnant. Do you know what?
But,
like, he is a horrible man.
But Warney's been around the block. I'm not saying he would. He might not win, but he's got the. He knows, doesn't he? He's streetwise.
Yeah, it'd be an interesting fight. How old's Stan Turnant now? 76. So he's got some years on Warney though as well. So
yeah, exactly.
He's got a bit of youth on his side.
Two young chickens there.
Yeah.
There we go. Okay, cool. Let's move on then, because it's time for You're the Boss. So, Thomas, the lineup for the game last night, you had Vlasic, Pearson, Lees, Big Boyley, Headley, Rudoni, Hogg, High, Karoma, Waghorn, Knockout. Yeah, I feel like Scott High stock is incredibly low at the moment, but which is the best time to jump on it because you can only get better. What would you do lineup-wise?
Well, what would I do, or what do we think Warnock's going to do?
However you want to interpret it, mate.
He normally, with his success at Cardiff, I think he played normally 4 at the back. It was like a 4-2-3-1 or a 4-3-3 normally. So it's quite defensive.
Yeah.
And then hoping for like the kind of quick transitions into attack. So, I mean, we had 4 at the back last night. So you're going to have to put in, bloody hell, Brady, who are you going to have to put in? You're probably going to have to put in Reg, aren't you?
Yeah, probably. I mean, I'm not against that.
No, I know, but I'm just saying the depth with Hellick injured, Utah injured, it's not good, is it? And Pearson playing right back doesn't help either. So actually, you put Lees and Pearson in. And then I've always thought Reg has done a decent job at fullback. You could potentially put him there.
Yeah, I mean, why not? I think, what was it? The only thing I would say, Pearson went off, didn't he? So we don't know.
Yeah, true. Right, so let's say fucking hell. I mean, I don't know, Brady. I'd be putting Jordan Rhodes back in. I thought Wagon had a bad game on Wednesday. I'd probably start Knockout and Humber up top. Knockout and Humber. So Rhodes and then Knockout and Humber as the front three.
Yeah.
Hogg in the middle. Rudoni on the right. And then God, we're so short, aren't we, at the moment? It's probably going to have to be High's probably going to get a start. Because unless you're changing the formation, so unless he does the 4-2-3-1, where you'd have probably a back four, then Hogg and Kasumu in that two, and then Rudoni further up with probably Rudoni behind Rhodes and Humber and Knockout on the flanks. I think that'd work quite nicely.
Yeah. I don't see why not. Do you know what I reckon he's going to do?
Yeah, go on.
So looking at his last lineup, so the last game where he got sacked at Borough, he went for the 3-5-2.
Right.
So here's what I reckon he would do if he was going to play a 3-5-2. I think, given our injuries and Big Boyley getting sent off, I'm only referring to him as Big Boyley, I think this is what I'd do. I'd put Billy Kapic in net because I think Vaslik just doesn't look fit.
Yeah.
So that's what I'd do. And then your back three, I'd put Reg, I'd put Hogg, and I'd put Lees.
Nice.
And then I think for your five, I'd go Humber on the right, Kamara, Rudoni, Kasumu, Knockout. I'm debating whether to take Kamara out and put a High in. And then Knockout on the left. And then I think he'd play Rhodes, and if Rhodes is fit, I think he'd play Rhodes, and I think he'd probably play Wagon, just someone who can smash.
Yeah.
Smash into someone who could smash. That's what I think he'd do. Because I mean, the other thing is, you might, who knows? He might bloody play Knockout up front. Pat Jones came back after an injury. Just looking at that lineup last night, I think that's it. I think that's what he'd go for. I think he'd go 3-5-2. And to be honest, I don't hate Reg in a back three, because I think he's probably a bit more attacking than Lowton. And
it's really weird, Reg, how we put him out on loan, because I thought when we played Burnley at the start of the season, Reg actually looked semi-decent.
Yeah. I think
he
the thing
actually
is
did
that
quite well against Ashley Barnes, who is never easy to play against, and it's like, disappointing.
Yeah. Okay. But we'll see. I'm excited to see what he plays, but I think knowing Warner, he's gonna have two strikers.
Yeah.
And to be honest, we do have, don't be surprised if Tyrese Simpson and Carl Hudlin are on the bench on Saturday.
Well, that might be a bit exciting, that.
Yeah. Okay then, Tom, what are you going for the score prediction?
2-1 to Town.
Love it. Who's scoring?
Scoring.
Jack Rudoni will get his first goal.
Yeah, and Jack Rudoni will get his first goal. Let's have Hogg, Captain Hogg, and Josh Cromer.
Oh, nice. I like it. I don't think we are going to win this.
Oh, Brady.
It's going to be 1-0.
1-0.
Yeah, and we're going to go Rhodes.
Okay, fine. Bring the mood down. It's been a depressing podcast anyway.
It has been a depressing podcast. This will be good, though, because let's end on Quaner's question.
A few things change, but also a lot of things are still the same.
So this is one we actually asked a few weeks ago, but a certain Andy Booth came in, so we had to shift things around. His question this week is: which former Huddersfield Town player do you think is underrated? I love this first one. This is from Zach. Martin Craney, versatile, hard-working and very good deputy to Tommy Smith, was outstanding when he came on at Wembley. One of the unsung heroes of the promotion season. 100% agree.
Very good shout. Very good shout indeed. And I think there was a few players in that promotion winning team that were unsung heroes. And yeah, Craney is definitely up there at the top of the list, I think.
Nice. Stephen Batley says, always like Chris Beach, goal-scoring midfielder, arriving late in the box. Quote, a poor man's David Platt. Could do with someone like him now.
Nice one.
Jacob Hurst says, John Stankovic. Yeah.
I think he was rated, to be honest.
Do you think he was rated?
Because I think when he left, everyone was saying, we don't want you to leave. And like people, he had quite a good half of the season, didn't he, with the Cowleys? Or was it the first half of the season? Anyway, I think he was rated. I'm going to push back on that one.
Perfectly rated. I think
underrated at his start of his Town career, rated at the end.
Fair. I also think would have been a great player under Carlos. Yeah. Richard Burhouse says Daniel Sonani. Completely agree with this. I honestly, people were scoffing when talking about signing him permanently, but I think he would have, I know he went, he's a typical kind of flair play, like went missing in some games, but scored that goal in the first leg against Luton. He did pop up with some big goals, and typically in like the first 15, 20 minutes, but hey, don't care.
Yeah, exactly.
So, yeah, I thought he was a bit underrated by Town fans. Tom, what about you? Who do you think's a former Town player who's underrated?
I don't know, Brady. I've honestly not thought about it. Alan Lee.
Oh, what? I didn't expect you to say that. Is that just your default response or anything?
Yeah,
if you get caught off guard. Alan Lee?
When I haven't thought about it, I can't. Oh, I'm sorry. Scott High. I really like Scott High. I do think he's underrated. He's a good footballer. The only thing Scott High is all right. Yeah, sorry, that doesn't count then. Joe Lolly, was Joe Lolly underrated?
I think people were miffed when he was sold, weren't they?
I think Joe Lolly was underrated by David Wagner. And I always thought whenever he came on, he'd do bits. That game against Stoke and West Ham, he looked great, and then we go and sell him like a couple of weeks later. I never really thought he got a run in the squad, so maybe I'll say Joe Lolly, I guess.
Yeah. I know Matt always says Hefele was underrated because he was actually a good defender, but people were just like, he's a big personality.
Yeah.
I don't know if you agree with this. I think Tom Ince was a bit underrated.
Yeah, I think Tom Ince was, and another player we shouldn't have sold going into that second season. Weird decision.
Because I think he works really hard and when he got his goal, and obviously scored the big goal against Watford.
Yeah. He did everything apart from score and really assist, but he did work really hard, and he got us up the pitch, and he was really smart, and he was underrated as well. I think you're right there, Brady. Have we had any players who we think were underrated and then have gone on to be good, like really good somewhere else? I mean, Joe Lolly did really well at Forest, didn't he?
Yeah. I suppose it's tough, isn't it? Like, the one that was jumping in my head was Matty Crooks, but like he only played one game for Town, so you can't really like. But there's quite a few ex-Town. Philip Billing.
Yeah, underrated actually.
I think underrated. I know we sold him for big money, but like, absolutely bossed it for Bournemouth last season, didn't he? And he's been all right in the Prem.
He's a good player.
Yeah. Do you know who I think's underrated, Tom? Aaron Moy.
Yeah, do you know what? Aaron Moy's so underrated. Look at him now in Scotland.
No one talks about him. Cool. I think we'll probably end it there. Tom, is there anything you want to say to the Town fans before I do my end admin?
Right. What have we got? 15 games.
Yeah.
Let's just enjoy the ride with Warnock. Get behind him and the team, and let's just bring back a bit of fun in the stands and watching Town. I know when sometimes things are a bit rubbish, let's make us own entertainment. But yeah, come on. One push. Let's go for it. 15 games, come on.
Love it. I'm going to echo that. I mean, like I was saying to Pozza, like, I just think we want to see a response. Like the last couple of games have been miserable, and I think whether we stay up or whether we go down, you're going to see a response, which is the bare minimum, really. But I don't think any of us can take the rest of the season with performances like Stoke and Wigan. So, look, I'm excited. We're going to have loads of content with Warnock, so this pod's going to be fun. And look, like at the end of the day, relegation would be devastating for us. But as James's dad always used to say, if they're in League One, you still go watch them. And exactly. I think that's it. That's it. Yeah. So
we'll still be doing the pod in League One.
Yeah, we will. Even in League Two, even if we go back to the Prem, we'll still be doing the pod. Can't get rid of us that easily.
No.
Okay, cool. Right. Well, thank you, Tom. Thanks for coming back. We'll be together for the next pod as well.
Yeah. Exciting. It's a shame Boovy had a restraining order against me, isn't it?
Well, I thought we were going to get away with that, but yeah. Thanks to you all for listening. I know we've had quite a few pods this week, but hey, consider this shared group therapy. And of course, before we go, thanks to Magic Rock for sponsoring this episode, as they always do. Don't forget you can get 10% off all online orders with the code AHTTC10.
So Town play up, bring the car back to Huddersfield.